Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video, we're going to be pushing to #1 live using the all-time great Hog EQ deck in Clash Royale. Alright, hopping in the first match here, we're going to be up against this guy. He's a really good Lava Loon player, so probably going to be playing Lava Loon here. Not going to cycle my Hog Rider right away, I just want to see what he does here. And he does go with the low tombstone, so I'm actually just going to go with the Hog opposite lane, because I know it won't get pulled by that tombstone. So, the only thing here is that we don't have like a Hog Rider or anything to punish if he goes in with a Lava Hound here, but we might be able to cycle back to it pretty soon here, so a pretty okay spot right now for us. Alright, so just going to cycle a Firecracker in the corner first. Also going to get back to another Hog Rider. There's a high chance that he might take our tower here, so just want to make sure that we at least can take his, so we're still in a decent position. But maybe now with the Loon nerf, it should be a little bit easier to defend because the Loon will take 2 shots to kill the Tesla. I'm gonna go with the Tesla here. Oh no. Alright, that's pretty unfortunate. So the Tesla actually didn't pull the balloon in the position that it normally would because I think the Skeleton Dragon like just barely managed to push it out of range. I kind of knew that the Skeleton Dragons were pushing the Loon a bit, but I didn't expect it to push it that far, so honestly, gonna lose pretty much our whole tower there, but I don't think it would have mattered too much, though. I feel like we were kind of screwed there either way. We probably would have lost our tower, even if we had got the Tesla in a bit of a better position. Alright, so Hog is actually going to get 2 swings there, and I'm also going to apply a bit of pressure with the Valkyrie here. He is going to go with the Skelly Drags, but now he won't have his Skelly Drags for offense anymore, so that's actually a pretty important play there that we pressured with the Valkyrie, because it's going to make it so that his next push will probably be a lot weaker since he won't have any Skeleton Dragons to combo with it, so could help us a lot here. Because as you saw there, the Skeleton Dragons were pretty annoying sometimes, so good to have them out of cycle. Alright, so I'm just going to go with a Firecracker here. He's going to go with like a weird positioned Hound, but Firecracker going to clean up those support troops, and the Hound actually isn't getting targeted by the tower, so that's actually kind of going to work out in our favor here. You might think that you would want the tower DPSing down the Hound, but it's actually going to allow us so that the tower can finish off the balloon pretty easily, so it actually kind of worked out really well for us here. And Firecracker actually going to one-shot all of the lava puffs, which is pretty satisfying. And yeah, I was kind of just like leaving his left tower up for as long as possible, just so that we can always finish it off easily at the end, but we don't have to like worry about his king tower being activated, because then defense would be a lot easier for him. So pretty good for us here. And Hoggy's gonna get 1 swing there as well, and just gonna set up a Firecracker here. The nice thing is that even when you're in a 2-tower game against lava, the Firecracker still does get so much value, so still pretty good. Honestly, I feel like it's not as good to be in a 2-tower situation against lava arrows, especially. But once you're against lava with fireball and like no miner or something, it's actually pretty good in a 1-to-1 situation, and that's gonna be GG. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be facing this guy. Not really sure what he's playing here, so just gonna cycle an Earthquake first play. It is a bit aggressive, but it usually does work out pretty well, and you don't really get punished for it, because even if you face like an Expo or something, you can always just like Valkyrie plus Tesla to kill it pretty easily, so yeah. I'm gonna actually Tesla high here, because seeing the Battle Ram, it's most likely gonna be like a P.E.K.K.A deck, but actually with the Archer Queen, it might not be a P.E.K.K.A deck, but the reason I did the high Tesla with Tesla right there was because in case you went with like a Magic Archer, it would probably like kind of DPS down the Magic Archer after the Battle Ram connected on it, so that was the reasoning there. And as you can see, like the Ice Spirit plus Skeletons trick against the Queen worked really well there. Always really nice to have Ice Spirit in this deck. That's like kind of the reason I like having Ice Spirit over Fire Spirit in this deck. It's just that you have like a lot better defense against Archer Queens, because if you're not running an Archer Queen yourself, you kind of need to make sure that you have a pretty good defense against it at least, so that you can kind of just like keep up with it. Alright, so we got a pretty good lead here already. The Firecracker was kind of chipping away a bit, and also the Hog Rider did get a shot as well. And he's going to go with the Queen here, but I'm just going to go with the lone Ice Spirit, and you guys can see I kind of baited him there. Like, he went with like the really early Queen ability this time when I didn't even use my Skeletons, so He's gonna get like a good amount of damage, kind of unfortunately, but I don't know if we could have really stopped that, but it should be pretty fine here for us. And just gonna go with the Tesla here. Might be able to activate King Tower off of this Bandit, since the Bandit is getting like tanked for a bit by the Barbarian, and yeah, gonna get a really nice King activation here, really helpful as well. And yeah, also the nice thing about having Firecracker is that it is a bit easier to get King activations compared to using a Queen, because like against Bandits, instead of going with like Ice Spirit plus Skeletons, you also can use Skeletons and Firecracker to activate your King Tower. Even though it's like a lot worse of a trade, it's still definitely worth it, and you don't always have your Ice Spirit and Skeletons in cycle, so it's always nice to have like a couple different options with that, which the Firecracker can give you. Alright, so just gonna go with that Tesla here. Honestly, Tesla's also pretty nice here. Honestly, the only reason that Tesla isn't like super good is because it does have a bit lower HP than some of the other buildings like Bomb Tower, but it's always really nice that it like goes underground and stuff. It makes it really good against Queen, actually. I feel like Tesla's definitely the best building against Queen, because if you just like deploy it early, kind of like near the river against a Queen, it will always like fully counter it, whereas like a Bomb Tower, it can counter it almost, but it usually doesn't fully counter it, so nice to have Tesla like that. The only thing you have to watch out for is Tesla is that it can get kind of wrecked by lightning, and it is, I mean, even though like something like Cannon can get wrecked by lightning, Tesla is a bit more expensive, so it's a bit more costly when they go with the lightning on the Tesla. So you always kind of want to cycle it a bit earlier, but usually you can get away with like cycling it early because it always goes underground, so it's never really under too much of a threat of getting hit by like spells or troops or something like that. Alright, so honestly not too much to say this game. We're just having like really tight defense here, and we're making sure not to overcommit with our Hog Riders as well, because like sometimes when you're playing like 2.6 or something, you kind of just like spam your Hog Riders constantly, at least in some matchups, so that doesn't always work out that well with this deck. You kind of have to be a little bit more passive. It really does depend on the matchup, but in this matchup, for example, we really can't go with Hog Riders too often unless we at least have like a Firecracker down or something like that, because his E-Barbs will be pretty dangerous on the counter push if we just go in with Hog Riders for no reason. So I'm just going to Earthquake here. It's already triple elixir, so I'm not scared to spend a bit on offense, and yeah, not really in a rush here, just going to focus on defense. I don't really care if I take his tower or not. If I don't take his tower, I'm just going to win off of Tiebreaker, hopefully, so yeah, I'm actually going to get triple Tesla here. Yeah, that's the beauty of Tesla right there, getting those triple Teslas. Always really nice to see. You love to see it for sure. And yeah, gonna also come in clutch there with the Ice Spirit. I mean, it's also really nice to have the Ice Spirit to like reset Ram Riders and Battle Rams. So as you can see there, like that Battle Ram would have actually connected to our tower on the right side if we didn't have Ice Spirit. So Ice Spirit definitely does have its uses over Fire Spirit sometimes, and that's gonna be GG. Alright, hopping in the next game here, we're gonna be facing this Japanese player, and I'm pretty sure this guy does main Mega Knight decks. I'm not really sure which version he's using. It might be like Mega Knight Miner deck. It might be like a Mega Knight Miner deck, or it might be like a... Okay, it is probably gonna be Mega Knight Ram Rider here, so gonna be an interesting matchup. Honestly, Tesla is quite nice in this matchup, even though they can just lightning it away pretty easily. It does always get a lot of value against their queens and stuff, and it is very nice to have Ice Spirit here as well. Yeah, so as you can see there, like he didn't even have the chance to use his queen ability there because the Ice Spirit just reset it, and even though you might like think it's kind of not smart of them, or like a bit unsmart of them to not use the ability earlier, if they use the ability super early, it's just gonna get no value anyways, because then the queen would just be like super slow during the ability ever since that one nerf it got recently, so there's no point to really use the ability super early. So you can kind of see they're kind of forced into that awkward spot where they kind of just usually end up wasting their queen ability, and we're gonna actually get the king activation there. He probably wasn't expecting it since he had the ghost down as well, but I could pretty easily separate them, so he is probably going to be up a few elixir there, because it is a bit of a negative trade to be using the Firecracker as well, but honestly pretty worth it. You really want to get your king activated as early as possible, then it makes the matchup just like way easier, so yeah, pretty okay here. Unfortunately, the Mega Knight is going to jump on the Tesla. It didn't get stunned by the Ice Spirit on time, but actually a super clean defense right there, so pretty nice here. We didn't actually get like very much damage at all in single elixir, but honestly the main goal is just getting your King Tower activated early on, so I would still call it a pretty good win for us right here. And yeah, so by the way guys, so when you're facing like Mega Knight decks and you're playing Hog EQ, it's always good to like kind of, I don't know, be like a bit conscious about what cards you're cycling, because it really does make a difference if you like end up saving that Ice Spirit or not, or like saving your skeletons, because you always want to use it against the right things, like especially until you get your king activated. You always want to be kind of holding on to your cheap cards so you can activate with it, because that's really just gonna change the entire matchup. Because I feel like it's actually a pretty hard matchup when you don't get your king activated, but once you get it activated, it's honestly a pretty good matchup for you. Well, maybe with like Firecracker instead of Queen, it's actually not too bad even without the King activated, but it's always a lot better when you do get your King activated, so no reason not to do it most of the time. And Hog is actually going to get one shot there. I think the Ram Rider got distracted for a second or something, so yeah, pretty good defense here. And we can kind of get away with this Tesla here against, that'll probably hit his Queen in a second, because even though it is like underground, it is gonna pop up here, and it's also, I was gonna say it could like counter push a bit. I mean, not counter push, but like still be up to defend his Ram Riders. It looks like he doesn't really go with anything here, so not really gonna get too much more value, but it is still gonna clean up everything. And yeah, pretty good stuff here. Firecracker is gonna chip away. It actually shot a E-Spirit that died like a second earlier before it shot. The only thing about Firecracker sometimes is that some of its shots are super delayed, like it shoots a unit that already died like 3 seconds ago, so at least that's what it feels like. But yeah, I'm just gonna set up a Tesla early here. Just want to make sure I can get back to another Tesla if he does try to lightning this one. And I'm gonna go with the Valkyrie off to the side here. It's always important to space out your units so they don't get like a super good lightning off or anything like that. And his bandit will kill our Firecracker, but I kind of wanted to use the skeletons to finish off the ghost, so yeah. And you never really like going with your Valkyries too early, but I kind of just had to go with it here because we're in a bit of an awkward spot, so didn't really have much of a choice, but it should be pretty fine here for us. He is gonna lightning, but now he won't be able to lightning our Tesla, so we're looking pretty good here. And we did get like a pretty firm damage lead, so I'm not really worried about getting any damage. I'm just gonna Earthquake here though, because we are in a bit of an awkward spot, even though we don't really need tower damage. We just kind of want to use that Earthquake to cycle back to other cards, so pretty good right here. Okay, I wasn't actually expecting that Ram Rider to not get like pulled by everything and get hit by the Ice Spirit, but should be okay here. We just need to cycle back to another Valkyrie, hopefully, as quickly as possible. I'm just gonna log as well. We probably don't even need the Valkyrie, but just gonna go with it in case of that lightning, and yeah, pretty clean victory here. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be facing this guy. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this guy's playing only one deck. Yeah, he's going to be using wall breakers here, and I'm pretty sure he does basically only play minor wall breakers, at least on ladder, so probably going to be minor wall breakers here, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Honestly, I almost never really faced this matchup, so I can't really say too much about it, but going to be interesting. And unfortunately, the Firecracker did come out a bit late. We didn't really have it in cycle right away for his bats, and he's going to get a bandit dash, but could have been worse, to be honest, so I'll take it for sure. Alright, so looks like he's gonna activate his King Tower probably. Okay, he actually messes up right there, so I'll take that for sure. And he did go with the Miner as well, so he's probably super low on Elixir, so I'm just gonna go with the Hog Rider here as well. Could be a bit difficult to break through later in the game, so kind of just want to get my damage early. And he did go with the Bar Barrel as well, right, as we attacked, so pretty good for us, I think. I'm going to go with the Firecracker here. I'm going to try to activate King Tower, so I already showed you guys how to activate King Tower with Skeletons and Ice Spirit, but you can also activate your King Tower just using Firecracker and Ice Spirit, so always like really handy to know those those interactions to get your king activated as early as possible. And honestly, he does get quite a bit of damage here, but we made pretty good use of the situation we were given after those bats kind of demolished us a little bit. Well, not really, but it kind of put us in an awkward spot, so should be pretty good here for what it was. And he's going to go with the musketeer in the back there, but I'm just going to take an earthquake on it. I'm not really too worried about getting damage here, because even though we do have to go same lane, it looks like here we always can get good EQ chip damage, and we also have like the Hog Rider, which always can break through. And you always want to try to avoid giving them the king activation when you have Firecracker, even, because it's still going to be pretty harmful to you sometimes. Like in this matchup especially, like the Mega Knight will actually fully counter the Hog Rider when it's played on time if it's against a Hog Rider when you have your king tower activated as well. So always really nice to have your I don't know, like your Firecrackers not ever activate their king tower, at least if you can help it, because I know it does happen sometimes, but always best to not let them, or do whatever you can to stop them from getting that activated king tower. It also does make it a lot harder to break through stuff like mortars and bomb towers once they get the king activated, so always really good to not allow them to do it. Like sometimes it's better to just like play your Firecrackers in a position where you know they're gonna die. Because, I mean, you kind of like always want to counter push with your troops, but sometimes it's better to let your Firecrackers die, because you just know that you don't want to give them that possible king activation. So that's going to be GG right here. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be facing this guy. Not too sure what this guy uses. I think he does just use like cycle decks in general, so might be like Royal Hogs, might be something else, not really sure. Okay, so it does have Bomb Tower here. It's a bit early to say, but I think it's probably going to be a Hog Mirror matchup here, because pretty much only the Hog Archer Queen deck actually uses Bomb Tower in this meta, so maybe a Hog Mirror match here. And even though you might think it's good for us because we have the Tesla and he has the the Bomb Tower, it's actually not too good for us here, because even though we can always EQ his Bomb Tower and Tower, it's always going to fully counter our Hog Rider when he places it in the right position, because it's going to take like 2 Hog hits to kill the Bomb Tower, even when it gets EQ'd, whereas the Tesla will just die in one Hog shot after it gets EQ'd, so not going to be too good here. Unfortunately, the Queen is actually going to get 1 shot there. I kind of wasn't expecting that, so could have actually prevented that by using an Ice Spirit, but a little bit annoying here, but I think we should be pretty okay. And it is good here that we're going opposite lane of him, because you never really want to go same lane as a Queen deck when you're using Hog Rider, because then they can kind of just like stack up the Queens and stuff, and you can't really like push into that lane or try to like outcycle them or anything like that. So pretty nice here that we're going opposite lane. We do get 1 Hog hit there, but yeah, looking pretty good here. Not too big of a lead, but pretty good. I mean, we are actually going to let that Firecracker die there, like I was talking about in the previous match. Like, I could have played my Firecracker farther away from the Knight so that it would survive with a bit of HP, but I just didn't want to give him any opportunity to activate his King Tower, so I actually went with the Firecracker extra close on purpose. And we're actually going to get the Skeletons plus Ice Spirit trick off on the Queen, because I knew he would only want to go with the ability last second against my Valkyrie, because they always like want to get it last second, so right as the Valkyrie's about to come in contact with the Queen, it's going to go invisible so it can't hit it for the longest time possible, so that's why I did that there. And yeah, as you can see, like, it's really easy to bait the Queen players. Like, that time he went with the Queen ability like way too early, but he just did it because he was expecting me to go in with the Ice Spirit plus Skeletons trick, but I didn't actually end up going with it, so kind of just like playing some mind games with them here. And luckily the Bomb Tower actually does hit the Firecracker there, so I'm not going to give him any chance to activate his King Tower. And he's going to try to like stack up the Queen in the lane, so we can't really outcycle him. But I'm just going to go with a Hog in the back here. A bit of a weird play, but I just didn't want to like play it right into his Queen, so I'm just going to go with it a bit farther back here. And he's going to try to kill the Hog at the bridge, but we actually do kind of like block up the units he played with the Valkyrie, and he's actually going to be forced to EQ on defense here, so already a really promising spot right here in this game. We kind of just need to like cycle EQs and make sure he doesn't get like any crazy amount of damage somehow, but I think if we play good defense, we should be looking pretty fine here. I'm just gonna log as well, just to make sure we don't take any Hog hits, and He's gonna queen right as we go in with the Hog, but Valkyrie will actually fully defend the queen if it's placed properly. Like, as you can see, the Valkyrie actually like pushed back the queen a lot, so it actually made the queen get 0 shots on the tower, and he's actually gonna give up here, I think. So yeah, and by the way guys, so if you use a Valkyrie against a queen, it normally will get like 1 hit on your tower, but if you use it in the perfect position where it's like pushing back the queen, it will get 0 shots, and that's gonna be game. Alright, hopping in the next match, you're gonna be facing this guy. Not really sure who he is, so just gonna cycle a Hog Rider here. It's always safe to go with the Hog first play with this deck, as I said like a few times in past videos. Never really will get you punished too hard unless you face like a Sparky deck or something, but even then you can still usually defend. And he's gonna have Ice Wizard, Log, and Tornado, so probably gonna be an Ice Bow deck, I would assume. Seeing the Log there, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be Graveyard or anything like that, so yeah, it's gonna be Expo here, but we're just gonna go with the Valkyrie plus Tesla. As I was saying, like, it's not even that bad if you cycle your EQ on their tower against Expo, because you can always just like defend with the Valkyrie Tesla here. And he's gonna Log here. I could have actually went with the Ice Spirit to defend more, but I just didn't want to, just so that I can kind of get a bit of damage with that Hog Rider. And we do actually score 1 hit there, which might not seem like much, but it's actually gonna play a pretty big difference in this match probably, because it's really just going to be like a spell cycle race in this match against Expo, so always good to get any damage you can get, and 400 damage from that Hog hit's going to be quite big for us. Alright, so I probably could have EQ'd his tower there, but I'm just going to go with the Log, just to be a little bit safer, and he's going to go with the High Tesla here, but I'm just going to EQ it. If they go with the High Tesla, you can always just EQ it if you want. You don't have to EQ it, but always a viable play. And we're going to get some Hog damage right here. Yeah, Valkyrie going to be played a little bit high, I feel like, so going to be pretty good for us here. And he probably will get, yeah, he will get a bit of an Expo lock here, but I'm just going to EQ it, and he's going to kind of waste that Ice Wizard at the bridge. I guess he was expecting us to go with something else to counter the Expo, but we just went with the spells and cleaned it up pretty nicely. Honestly, his Ice Wizard is actually getting quite a bit of damage on our tower, so it is not going to be too good for us here, but still a pretty firm lead for us, so I'll definitely take our spot right now. Alright, so we are going same lane as him, so it's not really like a bad idea for us to cycle EQs on his tower, because even if he went with the Expo opposite lane, the tower in the right lane just has so much more, I mean, so much less HP than the tower in the... No, I mean, our tower in the right lane has so much less HP than the tower in the left lane, so it wouldn't really make sense for him to go with the Expo in the other lane, so we can always pretty freely cycle our EQs here, and he's going to need like 4 more rockets to finish us off, so I don't really think he'll be able to win with getting those rockets off unless we allow him to get like an Expo lock or something like that. So I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Just need like 2 more EQs, and I think he needs like 2 more rockets, 2 more logs, and like another NATO or something like that. So I think we should be good here. Yeah, so he's gonna go with the Expo here. He's not gonna have enough for a rocket in time, I don't think, and just need to cycle 1 more card now to get to EQ, and that's gonna be GG. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Bye!